Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. Hey, today we're going to jump back on the Trailmaster 100 Yamaha. I've kind of gotten this ready to go. I want to get in here and replace the other crankshaft seal. We'll eventually pull this engine out. As far as I know, I'm probably not going to have to do a whole lot to the inside. We'll probably pull the cylinder and head off and see how, it sounds real good, sounds tight. I just thought I'd probably hone it and put some new rings in it. I don't have them yet, and I don't have everything that I need to button this back up with yet either. I've got a seal that I bought from a seal distributor, but not a Yamaha seal. I just want to get the old one out, take a peek at it, and see if this one is similar. I think most of these need to be a double lip seal, but I'm still waiting on the seal for this side and all the O-rings that it takes to button it up with the rotary valve and all that stuff. But I've gone ahead and got the foot pegs off, the brake pedal off, and most of that I think is stuff that probably could be left on, but it makes your visibility better, and mine too for that matter, and you don't have to hold a bunch of things or whatever. So I've just kind of got that stuff off, and the air cleaner up here, and the carburetor was already off, if you remember right, with the last video I did on this, that we need to go back in there and revisit the carburetor because of the float. I'm not even sure the float is the right one. But anyhow, for now, we're going to try to get this side cover off and see what we've got to deal with in there. Okay, first of all, we got to get the screws out. And I'm not real competent on this engine. I have owned one, but I've never was in it the time that I had it, and I haven't been in one of these in a very, very long time. So this is all going to be new to me, essentially. Maybe it'll dawn on me when I get in there. I've got one here. Let's see. I've got most of these out. I just want to show you this one in here. Just like the Enduros, you've got to remember to get the one that's in here with the pump. And if memory serves me right, the oil injection line banjo bolt has to come out. I believe the pump and everything can stay. It's just like the Enduros, it'll come off. The worm gear and everything should be back in there. I think we just about got it. It's probably been on there for a long time. Let me get a hammer. Okay, it's being kind of a pain in the butt here to get off. So I'm just going to take a screwdriver down here, and I found a place at the top. Oh, I think I can knock on it a little bit. There's a screw here. I think this is a little filter that lets some of the overflow out. All right, saw it. Yeah, it's separated a little bit. And then we'll just kind of get up here at the top. We've got kind of an edge right here. So I'm just going to tap on that a little bit. All right, I think that might do it. Just be careful when you're doing this. You sure don't want to damage your case and you know, don't be banging around on the case itself. Lightly, okay, but don't use any force because those castings are easy to break. All right. There's a clutch actuator there and the oil pump drive. And the little ball right there, so don't lose that. Okay, I've had this off and the plug out and draining for several days, so I was kind of hoping, I was waiting on the parts to come in, but they just don't seem to be ready to ship them yet. I called earlier and they said that it's probably going to be in the first week of September before what is left to come in comes in. Okay, so we've got this is the actuator for the clutch here. I don't know, that's probably pretty loose. Probably could use some rubbers. Don't know what we're going to end up doing. I don't even know what they look like. We'll probably just try to do it without them. But if you remember right, we haven't tried to operate this, so the clutch is probably stuck, would be my guess. So I guess the next thing we need to do, see, we've got an O-ring here that I can probably come up with. It's this big one that goes on the rotary valve cover that, you know, you're probably not going to find. You can make these kind of things if you've got a O-ring making kit where if you've got the proper size, you can go in and actually glue the ends in. I'll show you a kit. I don't know whether I'll be able to do it today or not, but we'll see. But the kit, if you've never made your own O-rings, I've had to do it on cars once in a while. It's just a little fixture where you cut the O-ring material with a razor blade and super glue the two ends together. That works real good. You wouldn't think so, but it does. So it looks like I need to get in here with probably a 10 millimeter there. So let me get hold of some tools and we'll see what we can do. Okay, I've got, these are not 10 millimeter. I've got a 9 millimeter and that fits it on a wrench only. I do not have a socket. I do have, however, a clutch holding wrench for this. Well, they're not very tight, but that's just not the way to do business unless you just absolutely have to. I think I'm going to run to the hardware store and see if they've got a 9 millimeter. I just hate to do kind of boogered up maintenance like that. So I'm going to see if I can find one. It'll just make the job easier, especially when you're going back together. I've just never needed a 9 millimeter socket. And the socket set that I have doesn't have one. So there you go. Let me go see if they got one. Okay guys, scored me a made in Taiwan Craftsman socket, 9 millimeter. Never needed one on a bike before, but I guess I do now. It irritates me that they're made offshore. Craftsman has always been made in the States. I guess I've had mine way too long. All of my stuff's USA made. Of course, you know, I suppose it still has a lifetime warranty on it, but if I break something, I'm going to have to get one made in Taiwan or China. Not really into that. This thing's kind of put together backwards from what we're normally used to with the Enduros. You would think you'd be pulling the plates off now, but you're not going to pull the plates off until you get all this separated. I'll show you why here in a minute. So you would normally be taking off the plates before you pull this, but you see that you've got a hook here at the end that prevents them from coming off. So you've got to wait until you pull the center hub off. And it looks like all this stuff is the same. It may even be the same, looks about the same as the Enduro. Your thrust washer and your thrust bearing. And this looks pretty much the same. Just a little different. It's really pretty much all the same stuff. Looks like I'm going to have to pull the shifter to get to the rotary valve cover. So let's see what I probably am going to have to pull a snap ring off over here if it's similar to everything else. I think so. It's got a lot of dirt on it, so let me clean that off a little bit and we'll take a peek at it. Okay, got me a pan here so I don't knock all that. Yep, it's got a snap ring on it. We want to make sure we clean the shaft off good so we're not dragging all that crap back through the engine. These are, you know, everything is pretty much made the same from what I'm seeing as the Enduro bikes, just a few little differences. Let's see if I can get that snap ring to pop off. Yeah, easy peasy. There should be probably a washer behind it. I think so. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So we got a washer and a snap ring just like the Enduro. And we got that kind of cleaned off. I didn't order a shift shaft. That may be the same as an Enduro. I'll have to take a peek at the book and see. Okay, one thing I noticed here, you see this? This is slop from the eccentric bolt here, which is loose. So this thing probably wasn't shifting very good. So hopefully that's not stripped out and we can repair or at least just go back in and adjust it. Let me see if I can get that out first. First thing we've got to do is kind of pull this up. and then start pulling out here. Oops, there we go. It's kind of hanging up somewhere. Should be coming out. It's probably bent, would be my guess. Probably got wrecked. There we go. All right. Yeah, I bet this shaft is a little bent. We'll set it, yeah, I think it is. We'll set it up in the lathe and see if we can straighten it out. It's not too bad. Okay, and we've got a washer back here behind. I just wanted to do a quick measurement on that and see if we're kind of looking at the same thing. 2 millimeters, so that's a little different. The Enduros are running, for the most part, a 3. Some of the older ones had a 2, and some of the older ones had a 2 and a 1 that equals 3 here. But this is, see how loose that is? I don't think the threads are messed up. I think it's just loose. And that also looks like an Enduro one. Same thing. Yeah. Yeah. So I bet it wasn't shifting very good, or wouldn't be for much longer. So we'll be adjusting that before we get it put back together. I'm going to leave that kind of loose so I'll remember. And you know, I'm not real positive, but the seal, no, I think the seal goes in here, so it's probably, I thought it was popped out too, but maybe not. Let's get this nut off and get that gear off and see what we're looking at there. Let me get you over here. Okay, just a lock washer on that one. Yeah, this looks like a little different outfit here. So you can see here the outside of the seal, and you're looking at what you would normally see the backside. I'm hoping that's correct. I'll have to check my book and make sure that this is installed properly. And there's a spacer in there, and there's also a little O-ring just like the Enduros have on the crankshaft. So let me get my impact and we'll get started on this. Okay, you notice we've got one tapered screw there. Now these O-rings, like here on the throttle or the intake port and the one on the oil port here, I'll be able to come up with those, although I did order the proper ones. I tell you the truth, I just really didn't even think they'd be able to get them. So I went ahead and ordered them, and if they come in before I'm ready to put this back together, you know, it could be the seal I've got will work just fine here. So if it does, then we'll probably just go ahead and do it. We'll just see how things work out. Okay, it's loose. Yeah. Yeah, so that's what you would normally, if you were looking at the magneto side, this is what you'd be looking at, because it's holding the oil, or in that case, the crankcase pressure, fuel mixture, into it. In this case, they're actually doing two things. They're sealing the crankcase oil, or the transmission oil, from getting in there, and this is also your seal for the crankshaft. So it's doing two things. It is a double lip seal. And we want to take a look here. Okay, this is pinned. As you can see right here. And I'm not sure what the backside looks like, but we've got this metal portion here. It's probably going to have that on the other side too, would be my guess. Okay, there's the, okay, it goes into a slot there on the spacer. You're probably too close. Right here. And that just goes into the crankshaft there. It's liable to fall out when I pull the rotary valve out. Just gently pull that up. Okay, and there it goes, fell right out. Okay, so there's this, you've got the indention here that goes in, and the flat goes out. And we've got our little pin here, so that we'll put over here with the spacer. And yes, there is an O-ring up there on the crankshaft. You can see it right here, just like the Enduro, and matter of fact, it's the same one, same O-ring. And of course, this is the O-ring for the seal here. And that's the one I do not have. And I don't think I've got that kind of material. But push come to shove now, I could measure this up and order one from McMaster Car probably. But we'll just try to see what Rocky Mountain ATV motorcycle comes up with. That's where I ordered it through. They should be, I talked to them earlier today. They said the stuff should be coming in around that first part of September. I do have a gasket set that I bought off of eBay. And it looks like it's going to be real difficult to get in here to remove the old one. So I think we may be pulling out the engine a little bit quicker than what I really wanted to. I kind of wanted to get everything running, but eventually I do want to take it apart and clean all the engine up, the outside. I don't think I'm going to go into the engine, like I said, and I don't think that I'm going to do a full resto on this machine. It's more likely I'm going to go around like I did with the gas tank and try to compound the paint and see how it comes out. You know, it's kind of easy, not easy, but it's easier to do since it's not a tube frame. You'll be able to get into most parts of it pretty easily with a little 2 or 3 inch buffing wheel. Okay, I just wanted to take a look at this. Here's the spacer again. And I just wanted to kind of see how it's probably, I mean, it fits pretty good. I'm sure it's loose and not sealing as well. The oil seal is somewhat pliable, but it's just too old. It needs to be replaced. Let me see here what I come up with, see if I came up with the right thing. Okay, this is difficult to read. All right. Boy, it is difficult to read. I believe it says 9, or is it 6? Eight. Yeah. 8, 28, 47. Okay. So here's the new seal that I got, and it looks built the same, and it is a 28, 47, 8. So I believe it is. Oh, that fits quite a bit tighter. All right. And it should be the same size here. Yeah. So I think we're good on that. If I can, it's just I think this O-ring that fits right here is going to be my holdup. Somehow or another that needs to be replaced because that's part of your engine crankcase seal. If that leaks, then you're going to have air in there like we have that problem already. These two O-rings here on the oil and on the carburetor, no problem. Should be able to come up with something similar that would work there. Okay guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and pull the engine out. I'm down to one bolt anyway. I can't get back in here to get this gasket all scraped off. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull it. That way I can clean the engine, and you know, it's better to do that, I think. So these are real easy to pull. I've already disconnected the wires on the other side, as you can see here, just like the YL100. So that's disconnected, the spark plug wire. So it should just be the top bolt now. So these are easy because you can set this little jack underneath the engine, pull the bolt out, and just lower it. So we'll do that. Okay, I've got the bolt out and the pressure off of it. So it should just come down pretty easily. Yeah, I think I'll just do this because I just am not going to have the parts for a little while, and I could get by with parts, but I've got these ordered, so I just as well use them. Okay, there we go. Sometimes I hang up back there in the frame a little bit. All right, that's pretty much it. Okay, I've got this one wire. That's the neutral safety wire, or the neutral switch wire, evidently. It may just pull loose. Let's see if we can do that. Yeah, okay. So we should be all undone there. So we'll get it out and get it up on the bench. So they're pretty light, not much to it. I don't know what, probably weighs, I don't know, 40 pounds maybe. A lot of it is just right here. But yeah, I got to thinking about it. I could get by, I could make an O-ring and all that stuff, but I've already got this stuff ordered, so I just as well use the right stuff if I've got it. I'm just gonna have to wait for a few days, but in the meantime, I can go ahead and work on cleaning up the frame, cleaning up the engine, and getting that stuff ready to go back in. Okay guys, yeah, here I wanted to show you this kit. This comes with all the different size O-ring material, but it's all in length. I was just looking at this, and this is probably the material that I would use if I needed to. It fits right in there. If I measure it next to this, it's just about the same thing. So that would do it. But like I said, I've got the right one coming. I'm just gonna have to wait for a little while. But how this works is you put your material in your cutting device here, and you just use a razor blade in the slot, and that will cut it so it's straight on both sides. And you do that, you just like take a little nub off the end, and same on, you go ahead and cut your length, and then you've got two straight ends, and then you just use super glue to put it back together. And it does work. It doesn't sound like it would, but it does. And I've done it not several times, but 2 or 3 times, I guess. And you know, I've got this coming, I've got this seal, I've got this O-ring, and I've got these 2 O-rings. So I'll have everything from Yamaha that I'm supposed to have to complete this cover. So I'm just going to wait, and it'll be in here in a couple of weeks probably, and I'll be able to finish that up. In the meantime, I'll be able to do some cleaning. Now, another thing that I want to look at here is the oil tank. It had pretty old oil in it, and I've cleaned that out. I don't know whether you can see down in there or not, but it's pretty clean. And I'm just going to go ahead. I got a new window for it. You can see here that it's kind of crusty. They do that when they set out in the sun a long time. And I thought I had made a item to remove this with, but I can't find it if I did. Sometimes you can do it with a needle nose pliers. You just kind of, if it's not in there too tight, well, there we go. And then we can get rid of that one. See how opaque and crusty it is. And then we've got a seal. Get in there and get that up out of there. There we go. And then you've got the, I don't know what they call this. It just goes in behind it. It's so you can see the oil, I guess. Sometimes they're a different color. I think maybe they're red or something. This one's pretty, well, it's faded out, I guess is what it is. So let me go ahead and get this kind of cleaned up, and then we'll put our new one in. I think before I put that back in, I'm just going to put a little plug in here, and I'm going to take this over to the table and go ahead and give it a little buff out, just to, it would be easier to do now than with the new glass in it. Okay, I've been over here lacing up the wheel, back wheel for the 250 MX. So hopefully we'll be getting that back on and we'll have a roller pretty soon. So right now we're just going to take a look here. All I've got is I've got some compound and my little DA here, a dual action sander, and I'm just going to take a little bit of this after I shake it up and put it on the tank here. And I put a little water on my disc. Let me work on this a little bit. I stepped down to a foam pad and a little less aggressive compound to kind of finish it up. Shows the dent up a lot better, doesn't it? So, I think you agree it's quite a bit better. It's got some white overspray on it. I probably should work on it a little bit more, but it kind of seems like it's not wanting to come off. So I'm not real sure, probably just end up leaving it. You know, the paint's not too thick at this point, so you're not going to be able to just keep doing it until it's gone probably. There's a nice big white spot right there. Okay. Go ahead and get that piece out of there. I'd like to be able to get those little specks of white paint off, but I just don't think they're gonna budge. All right, we've got a new washer here. I'm just gonna put a light coat of oil on both sides. Oops, almost messed up. Get our little indicator back in there. And then we'll drop that down. There. And our new clean and unsun damaged window. see if I can get this tightened back up now. Should be good. Shined up pretty good. I'm probably going to have to sand that if I want to get rid of it. But then you've got a lot of extra work. It's a survivor. I think we're just going to leave it as is. Okay, just a little comparison to the other side. Quite a bit of difference. Okay, we've got a lot to do on this before while we're waiting on parts. I did get a seat cover, came all the way from Thailand. I'm just letting it kind of let the wrinkles time out there. I've got to come up with some foam. I don't think I've got enough out in the shed to do this, so I'll be working on getting some foam. That tank looks pretty good, and we'll be cleaning up the grease on the frame and the engine, and we've got a lot up here too. I'll probably, before I do anything to the front end, I'll get the engine back in and we'll turn it around the other way, and that way it makes it easier to work on the front end. But we've also got some wiring to take care of here. So we'll be doing that on both sides, getting that all straightened out. I did get the, I put the shocks, if you remember right, they were pretty rusty. I put them in the metal rescue and they turned out real nice. I mean, they still need to be re-chromed, but as long as this bike doesn't sit outside, I think those will look pretty good. So my plan right now is to go ahead and try to buff out the frame like I did the side cover there, the swing arm too, best I can, just to see, if it looks okay, then we'll use it that way. Otherwise, we'll probably end up painting it. I really don't want to. But we've got a lot of buffing to do, and it takes quite a while. So got a lot of cleaning up here. This stuff will all end up in the metal rescue, all the chrome parts. I'm not sure whether we'll repaint the silver or not. The skid plate all needs cleaned up, and the muffler, that'll spend some time in the metal rescue too. I'll probably have to get a large container out to let it soak, but we've got to clean it all up first. So we've got a lot to do. I'll probably be working on some of this stuff, but I'll probably get back on, I'm thinking probably the 250 MX, if I can get that wheel finished up, and then we can get the back end at least built up and get that made back into a roller. Got a lot to do on it. Winter's coming. Okay guys, there you have it. We've got the YL2C pretty well tore down. Well, we got a lot to tear down on it, but we've got the engine out. I had to remove it in order to get the rest of that gasket off. So I'll be doing that. We're waiting on the parts. Should be along here in a couple weeks, sounds like. It's really been hot here. We're talking the last week or so, temps up to 102, which is really hot for us. Real dry, 17–18% humidity, but the thing today is we've had winds probably up to 60 miles an hour with all that coming off the front range of the Rockies. And the thing is it's bringing in a cold front. So that is going to be really welcome. We're supposed to be high about 75 or so tomorrow, and that's going to continue for almost a week, maybe into the 80s. So that should give us a little more, it'll be a little more bearable to be out into the shop and working. It's just been so hot. I can't it's that I can't take the heat anymore. And when it gets like that, it's miserable and I don't want to do anything. But I have to remember here in about 60 days will probably be 0. So there you have it. The weather forecast for the day. Hey, thanks for going along on the ride, and we'll see you next video.